I'm here with Sania Khan, the chief economist at Eightfold AI, who is going to explain how to build a flexible, agile, and skills-aligned workforce. Sania, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Great to meet you.
Good to meet you as well. And I really love this topic because obviously AI is it's become very ubiquitous, and you're kind of at the center of this kind of transformational movement from the Eightfold perspective. So can you give me an idea a bit about what you do exactly as the chief economist at Eightfold?
Sure. Yeah, as you said, it's a great time to be working on AI. And then it's even more exciting because talent intelligence is really a neat time. It's also a great time to be in talent intelligence as well. So what I work on is I lead the think tank, the research arm of Eightfold AI, and we center our research all around topics of the future of work, workplace, skills. We'll talk a lot about skills today, I think, and everything related to that and the economy, labor markets, and how does that affect business leaders and HR leaders today.
Yeah, I'm a massive research kind of guru and evangelist as well. I've done many studies over the years, and now over the past several months, focused on AI as well because there's a huge demand and people are curious about it. And also from the skills perspective, I think it's particularly interesting because right now, still, the unemployment rate's pretty low, but there's a skills shortage. There's over 8 million unfilled jobs, and there's massive demographic shifts. As you know, there's multiple generations in the workplace, there's different needs, there's all these different challenges, and it's to find a new social contract. What does that look like?
So as you said, yeah, there is a mismatch between skills. There's a mismatch between, the shortage of workers and demand for workers. The half-life of skills is really shortening with technology advancing, like we talked about with AI. And there's new levels of employee agency that will really present employers with historic challenges. And so most companies aren't ready. And what that means is we need to redesign our companies around people and skills and really shift to a new model of work because the traditional way just isn't working. So, in tough economic times, companies usually lay off workers. We saw that happening in 2022. But we also know that finding top talent is really hard, especially in highly competitive industries that need those technical or specialized talent. So before jumping to layoffs, companies should really think about, looking at skills first. And if you analyze skills data first, you'll have a better outlook of what talent you currently have, what skills you need, and potentially redeploying those people before letting them go.
And we're seeing this massive movement, especially because a recent study showed that 45% of companies are dropping the college degree, meaning that from my perspective, there's different reasons for why that's happening. But one of the big ones is a lack of skills and needing to find more people and widening those talent pools.
Exactly. Yeah.
How can companies build talent agility and resilience in today's workplace culture?
So it's a tough talent market out there. And there's a greater competition for those in-demand skills and shrinking workforces. So now is really the time to implement this skills-based strategy, like I talked about a little bit. But it's really across the board, across all of your talent practices. So really it allows you to find the best fit when you're hiring, and also allows you to hire from within, so promote people within the organization. So finding, championing, promoting those existing employees, all for a new opportunity will be the key. And really, I think with AI-powered talent intelligence, like Eightfold, gives you the full visibility of what skills that you have in your industry compared to your peers, what are the skills that are trending, What do you have in-house? And then how do you match those skills with the work that you need? And then to stay ahead of the curve, really, and amongst your peers as well.
Because talent mobility and recruiting internal talent versus external is not new. What
Right.
makes it new, as you're pointing out, is this new technology that makes it more seamless and is smarter about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's the role of talent intelligence in allowing organizations to pivot during the time of changing marketplace demands?
So, talent planning really needs a more holistic approach. We know it's, this outdated model that we've been seeing. And if you use a talent strategy that's based in talent intelligence, that really gives HR and business leaders a better understanding of what they need talent wise, and not just today, but in the future. So, talent intelligence would show leaders what skills they need, help them determine the best approach for the future. So whether that's building your workforce, buying your workforce, or borrowing your workforce with contingent employees, whatever way it is to acquire those skills. And so that helps deliver a better employee experience, that helps organizations retain their talent, and shows people how they can grow within your organization, advance their careers. It's really a win-win overall. And if you do this across the organization, it really benefits everyone. So, there's no more of that siloed information or the HR, just working in a vacuum. And then on the flip side, top talent would be looking elsewhere for their next opportunity. And so this really allows you to keep and retain those people. And it's, again, like a win-win on both sides, the organization and the people, employees.
Absolutely. And you see all these big companies like investing hundreds of millions or billions of dollars because they realize that the future calls for new markets and agility and adaptability, and they need to have the right people with the right skills to be able to meet those changing needs. And having talent intelligence is a good enabler to be able to meet that.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
How can a pay for skills strategy help organizations address the skills shortage and talent gaps you talked about?
So before organizations look at pay for skills, they really need to answer that question. That's what skills are business critical for their industry, for that company. And really, those are the skills that are essential to the organization's overall success for the business. So that goes hand in hand with top talent, and acquiring that top talent also involves offering them competitive pay. So if you have the data, the talent data, then you can see which skills are driving value across the organization. You can then look at outside jobs and roles, those skills in context of different work constructs rather than being tied to a job description. So really identifying those specific skills that you want to find, and then rewarding the employees that get those skills, whether that's upskilling or reskilling them, and then growing your talent pool that way. And an interesting point here is really talent intelligence can help you see what skills are becoming more critical, right? So in the future of a given industry, and that really allows organizations to prioritize those skills before there is a supply and demand mismatch, which would potentially also increase that cost for those skills as well.
So the shift is really moving from pay based on title to pay based on skills. And that's a big one. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't really heard too many people talk about that, but I think that's really important, even though obviously a set of skills make up that role.
Yeah.
Just getting more granular and having AI basically being an assistant to be able to enable that can be very useful.
Yeah, pay for skills is the future. I think it would help employees also be able to see what skills do they need to get the pay bump that they want, right? And it's like a concrete it's not just about performance or how you are rated objectively, but really about specific skills that you can attain.
And what's really cool about AI too is it can help direct you to those skills, what
Yeah.
courses you should take, who you should talk to then be able to get paid more. So it's all in like alignment.
Yes. One of the really cool things that we have at Eightfold is this talent management platform where an employee, can see this is where I am headed according to, my manager. This is like the future job that they think I'm going to want. But then also, I work in marketing, but I really want to go into sales. Well, here's my path to actually get there as well. Here are the people that I need to talk to. These are the skills that I need to get to too. So it also allows you to not just look at the path that you think you're on or your managers think you're on, but really craft one for yourself. So, everyone wins really as well.
Absolutely. And what are some of the ways to hire in a skills-based organization? And is there anything that should be avoided?
So a really interesting stat that came out of McKinsey was hiring for skills is 5 times more predictive of job performance than hiring for education, and 2 times more predictive than hiring for work experience. So it's a pretty strong indicator of success, and it's imperative for businesses to really start using it. So if we think about digital skills and how they're more relevant now than ever before, the rapid advance of technology, really all of these things means that skills are depreciating faster than ever before. So an example here is really when I first started out my career, you're a data guy. So I started learning SAS and found out that this was a depreciating skill and I really needed to upskill myself to maybe an R or a Python. So maybe in like 2018 or 2019, I decided to go ahead and do that myself rather than my employer going to go and do that. And so it's really important that it's not just the employees that have the onus, it's really the companies and the organizations that do this in order to stay competitive. And, this breakneck speed of technology really requires a modern approach to hiring. And that means taking a look at beyond your traditional resume, right? Resumes are great for telling the story of what you've done and your educational background, but they're a poor indicator of a person's capabilities and potential. And so, like you said, it's time to look at a different approach and what a candidate is really capable of in practice and their potential to learn new skills. And I think experience isn't a proxy for capability, and that's why these companies are really taking out the educational requirement here.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot more skills assessments to get jobs during the interview
Yeah.
process because of that.
Yeah.
So very, very good point. And there's been a lot of chatter right now in the kind of HR or even executive circles about their priorities for this year. They're looking to prioritize different things like hiring, upskilling, and reorging, among others. But what do you think is the most important thing that they should focus on, or what are you hearing on your end?
So I think it really depends on the organization and overall the industry as well. Like something I think of, an example that comes to mind is really green technology, right? So if you're thinking of how can I get people with the skills of green technology, like green technology skills, you kind of can't because these people aren't necessarily out there. It's such a new subset of skills. And so what you really need to do in this case is upskill, take the employees you currently have, upskill them for the skills that you need and keep your employees. And that way you prevent layoffs as well. And so overall, technology is rapidly changing and more roles rely on this technology, AI being one of them as well. And so companies will need to really prioritize upskilling and reskilling to keep their workforce up to date and competitive.
I think that's a very interesting perspective, because if you can't find the talent externally, well, it costs a lot more money to hire externally anyways. And if
Yeah.
that talent's not there, then you already have employees that you can upskill and train with on these new skills. And then that saves money. That's a good investment for them, because those skills are more valuable. So potentially they can get paid more, paid by skill, like you were saying. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that helps employees, upskill themselves and stay competitive in the marketplace as well. So, um,
One of the big metrics that at least HR leaders are measured against is talent retention. How
mhm.
can companies create an effective talent retention strategy?
So yeah, as we're seeing in the labor market, where there was the Great Resignation happening last year, that was the big trend, and now it's the Great Stay, as they're calling it. So quit rates.
AKA job security.
Yeah, I mean, people are a little bit nervous about the economy overall, and so they are staying, and quit rates are low, lower than they've been in the past few years. And so what that means is employees aren't necessarily staying because they're happy with their organizations. They're staying for overall like larger labor force market reasons. But overall, organizations have to do more with less. Once again, there is turnover that they have to be cognizant about, and that's expensive. So the cost of replacing an employee can range from, I think, a half to two times a person's annual salary. And so that means, it's important for organizations to think about retaining. And that really comes down to using talent intelligence platforms to look at personalized training, career development opportunities at scale for your employees. And so what I said was, we have this very neat thing with our talent management platform, but on the whole, it's really looking at how can you improve the employee experience through these equitable career advancement, internal mobility, succession planning modules. How can you help instill new skills that not just align with your organization's short-term goals, but really long-term goals, and help your employees with greater satisfaction and autonomy over their careers so that they actually want to stay. And overall, that will help organizations boost their productivity and profitability as well.
Yeah, on one end, like you were saying, it's about career pathing, showing people that they can
Yeah.
move within the organization, how to do that, what courses and skills they need to develop in order to earn more, fill those positions so that they can be more competitive. And then also from the company's end, oh, it would be really great if they're able to get the right talent at the right time and save money and be more
Yeah,
efficient.
exactly.
What steps should companies take to identify the skills they need to build for the future of work?
So we talked a little bit about technology and changing and the half-life of skills, right? The amount of time before a skill loses its value and how it's quickly shrinking. I think in 2017, the measure was 5 years, and in 2021, it's dwindled down to 4 years. I'm sure in 2024, it will be even less. So that longevity for technical skills is even bleaker. And that's really being driven by the changes in AI. So as this job market evolves, we really want to look at what skills are needed to and required to excel. It's critical to really take the time and effort to understand those specific skills that you'll need for those future job roles, and then map them to existing and potential employees. So, your business unit needs this. These are the goals for my business unit. These are the skills that I have in-house. How can I take, person A who's in a completely different part and move them over to this where they are needed, really based on their skills.
And
And
that's the
so
human part, right? Because the technology, like talent intelligence, gets you the data, can give you maybe some information to make more informed decisions. But at the end of the day, you have to make the call.
exactly. Yeah. And I think this will just help organizations put all of the data points together in front of you. And you'll actually get a holistic view of these are all of the skills that this person has, even if they don't know or they don't explicitly say it in their resume.
Because it's also about raising awareness. That's
Yeah.
a really great point. What activities should companies use for contingent labor, and why?
So, contingent workforces allow businesses to really quickly tap into a broader talent pool with specialized skills. Um, and you don't have to go through the lengthy cost of hiring or the legal hurdles of hiring, all of those extra costs of healthcare, whatnot, as you would with a full-time employee. And so, really, you can bring in experts for specific projects, and that way you have the right skills available when they're needed and where they're needed. And that helps you with driving business growth or innovation, whatever you're looking for at the time. And so, in this era where future of work is categorized by agility and adaptability, this forward thinking strategy is really important for managing your contingent workforce. It's really crucial that you build a successful one so you can, uh, implement those robust, insightful workforce dynamics that you'd like to in your organization.
Well, what I think is very interesting is for the contingent workforce, when you search for freelancers, for instance, you really are searching based on skills to be able
Yeah.
to complete tasks. And what I think you're also saying, because of that, is that full-time workers, in a sense, will have to, or even job seekers will have to start to promote the skills, much like freelancers do.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So it's almost like think like a freelancer, but act like a full-time employee.
Yeah. Yeah, like you have to be ahead of the curve, know what's going on as an individual and you're in the space that you're in. Whether that's looking at R or Python or even the new data skills that you'll need for the future. So, like every individual needs to kind of take a look at this.
And how can a skills-aligned workforce help businesses achieve their goals?
So, workforces are really fueled by these skills-based talent planning, upskilling, professional development pieces. And so if you take a look at that, um, organizations really have to adapt and pivot to constantly adapt to all of those changing needs. So at Eightfold, we have this, deep learning AI talent intelligence platform. It's trained on the largest data sets. And that way you can get insights into your workforce, the industry at large. You can recruit talent efficiently, exceed your diversity goals, retain top performers, like all of those. And so since work is really changing quite fast and organizations aren't prepared, those who aren't prepared will really lose any advantage that they might have in their industry if they're left behind. And the good news is that talent intelligence platforms, I mean, I'm biased here, but they can really help organizations keep pace, be ahead of their curve, be ahead of their the industry at large, and know what skills their workforce possesses, which skills are rising or falling in their workforce, and stay ahead of the curve here.
And I think what you're also saying is it takes time to hire, right? It's not like it takes 2 days to hire anymore. It takes like many months.
Yeah.
And even internally, it takes time, right? Because there's, politics and you have to, you have to kind of train into the new role, meet your team. There's just a lot that goes on from just a hiring onboarding perspective. So if you're always thinking and having like a learning culture and also using talent intelligence to figure out what to do next or how to prepare, that might make things more fluid, easier, efficient, and effective.
Yeah, just set you up for success for the future. I mean, this is the way things are headed. As we saw, the research and the data shows that it is really effective. And yeah, I think this will be also great for companies and organizations, but also for individuals as well. So
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing your insights, Sania.
thank you.